Hello everyone. So today is day 2 of 21 days to releasing fear of the future, and I actually personally love this topic. I'll never be able to retire, and over 12 years ago, I was lying in bed every single night at 46 years of age, thinking, oh my God, like we had gone through this, my husband and I had gone through some pretty devastating financial circumstances. Hi, Sandra. Great to see you here. And at that 12 years ago, I was lying there going, oh my God, like I'm so screwed. We're screwed. Like, because we had this really great sort of nest egg of everything. We were in gold and silver and all these things, and things went south. And well, you'll hear that if you listen to the free money program that I have. I mean, some people are like, what? So you should just listen to that. It's a free program. It's here in this group. But and now sitting here at 58, in a different place. And yet I really want to talk about the retirement thing, because sometimes I think this sort of might blow people's minds in a way, but retirement is a construct of the culture that we live in. Retirement is a construct of the ego. Like, I should be able to retire. We literally live in a system that is set up to promote the masses to, oh, I want to be able to retire. Like, it's this golden, it's got so much momentum and so much energy behind it. Like, I should be able to retire. And then when you see other people your age retiring and you're not there, guess what happens? To me, the bully starts activated. And my bully voice can sound very demonic, and my bully voice can sound incredibly reasonable. So, and the incredibly reasonable voice is the harder one to catch. It's the harder one to catch because it sounds so reasonable. Wow, you should have started saving for retirement a long time ago. I mean, that ship has sailed. I mean, look at the age you are now. You're never going to be able to retire. And the mind can believe that because it sounds reasonable, especially in the culture that we live in, that is constructed around this idea that we should be able to retire as we get older. I saw an interview with, oh my God, I had a brain fart there, Clint Eastwood. And I think he's 90 now. He's got to be, or he's going to turn 90 this year. I'll have to look after I do this video. But people are like, don't you want to retire? And he was like, why would I ever retire? Like, I love what I do. So there's a lot to be said for having more downtime and more ease. But you hear the stories time and time again. This actually happened to my father. He retired and he just zipped downhill, like just went downhill. You'll hear the statistics, and they don't put them out there a lot, about people that retire and don't do well. And then there's people that retire and do great. They do great, and everything in between. But I'm inviting you to consider the idea that the whole concept of retirement is a product of the ego culture that we live in. And what if it is possible there is another way to see all of this? And what if, as we release the belief, like, I'm never going to be able to retire, or I should be able to retire, and the beating up of self that happens, like, well, I didn't start saving in my 30s. And if you're a business owner yourself, that's a totally different, can of worms. And I will tell you, my sister has a friend that was a teacher in Pittsburgh and had the pension. And it was like 5 or 6 years ago, the pension just went away. The pension just went away. So there's that too. So, and why I say all that is, what if there are other possibilities here for us that we just can't see? Because the mind is locked into this belief, like, oh God, I didn't start saving early enough. I should be able to retire. And what if Doesn't matter how old you are. All of a sudden, some inspired thought can come to you for something that you would love and enjoy that actually assists you. And then there's, sorry, I've got to turn my heat off. It's blowing directly on me. Sorry about that. It's blowing directly on me. We plummeted from the 90s to 39 Fahrenheit here today. It's supposed to be that way for the next 2 days and then go back up to the 80s. So anyway, that was blowing on me. But, and there it is. I lost my train of thought. So hang in there with me. But this whole idea of this concept that retirement is something that we should want, it's the golden key to retirement, you know, and if we didn't save up for it, it's pushed on us all the time. And if we're not prepared for it, what happens? We feel bad about ourselves. And in the feeling bad about ourselves, we close off to possibilities. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So there was a group of women, mature women, you know, like myself and on up there, that all came together and they all bought little RVs and they've traveled around together and helped each other and supported each other. They came up with this idea. I have a friend who he went in with 5 other friends and they bought property. I think it's 5 other friends down in Tennessee. And they all have separate homes, but they work the land together. So what if, as we dispel the myth of retirement that we've all been enculturated to believe, if you're not in the position for that, who knows what could be possible and what other incredible inspirations could come to us. And I absolutely believe, let's call it the force of love that runs everything, has so much more in store for us. That's why tapping is so beautiful, because tapping helps release the paradigms, the constructs, the cultural paradigms that we've all been enculturated to, so that possibilities open up to us. So let's tap. Marcia, great to see you here. Sandra, again, great. I see people coming and going. That's why I can see you is here. So start in the karate chop. Even though I'm afraid for my future, I'm not set up for retirement. You know, and I'm mature. So that ship has sailed for me. And that thought terrifies me. I choose to acknowledge I feel this way now. Even though I'm afraid for my future, I'm tired, and I've been through this trauma of COVID, and I'm realizing I'm not prepared for retirement. What if it's possible? There's another way to see this. I choose to honor my feelings now. Even though that bully in my brain can sound so reasonable, has reasonable evidence to prove that it's right about me. But I'm open to seeing this differently now. I'm not prepared for retirement. And that thought terrifies me. And then I see people I know who are retired or are retiring, and that just elevates my fear. I am not prepared for this properly. But what if the truth is, this this has actually been orchestrated in a much vaster way than I realize. What if I am meant to find another way? And what if I'm part of a movement that's meant to find another way? And what if I don't have to figure this all out right now? In fact, when I try to, when I'm afraid, I just become overwhelmed and more afraid. What if the only thing I have to do right now is attend to that fearful place in me that's actually judging myself, that's in fear of the future, because my future feels so uncertain? And what if that's all I need to do is soothe this fear, even just 1%. Find relief from this fear. And what if, as I find that relief, a little more each and every day, I am able to tune in to a force that's so much greater than the ego construct of retirement, and amazing possibilities open up to me. And then I share that with others, and they find relief too. And what if there are so many possibilities that can spring open for me that I never thought about before? Because I couldn't. Because the fear of the future had such a grip on me. So if I can remind myself when that fear kicks in, and that reasonable sounding bully voice chatters away at me, I just have to soothe this. I can't stop these thoughts, but I can interrupt them. And the more I interrupt them, the more I find relief. And the more possibilities for a very bright future for me open up to me. I like these thoughts a whole lot better. And I'm open to possibilities as I soothe my fear. Take a breath. Hey, Karen. So this is what I find. So we get caught up in the culture, the world, like, well, you're not prepared for retirement. And again, the voice, like I said, I have a demonic bully voice, and then I have one that sounds so reasonable, gives me so much evidence, but I feel like crap when that voice that's so reasonable, that's how you know. So to me, this is the way I find relief with all this, is like, whoa, wait, because we get in fear and then, oh my God, I'm not prepared for retirement. And then we're doubling down on ourselves, and we start to, we start to feel overwhelmed, and we do not have access to the prefrontal cortex, the slower thinking part of the brain. So when I remind myself, and when you can remind yourself, I don't have to figure this out. All I've got to do right now is soothe the fear. Just soothe it. Find relief. I can't stop these thoughts. I can catch them in the act. And then when I catch them in the act, I can find relief from them. And through that, consistency, you'll start to notice, like, the fear starts to soften. The fear gets more quelled. And then all of a sudden, you might have this inspired thought that pops in your head that's like, oh my God, I never thought about that possibility. You have no idea what forces can come together. You might be, overhearing a conversation somebody else is saying. You might find something on TV. You might hear something on the radio. You might listen to a podcast. And it's like, whoa. And it's like that neon sign that lights up, and you're like, oh my God. Then the guidance and direction has the space to come to you in a myriad of ways that can overcome this idea of like, well, I'm not prepared for retirement. Oh my God, I should have started a long time ago. That ship has sailed. I mean, oh my God, I'm pushing 60, or I'm in my 60s and I'm not ready. And when I come back to that and go, that's all I have to do is quell my fear. I just got to quell the fear, and then possibilities open up for me. And that's what happened for me 12 years ago when I was lying in bed in absolute terror. And I was judging myself. Like, I know it's not good to have these thoughts. I've got to stop having these thoughts. Well, good luck. Just stop having these thoughts. That's also the bully voice. Sounds reasonable. You got to stop thinking this way. I mean, law of attraction says the more you think negatively, the more it's going to come after you. So it becomes this other way to beat ourselves up, and you're like, nope. All I got to do is attend to the fear. I can't stop the thoughts, but I can interrupt them. And then we have no idea what possibilities open up to us. And the way that I found tapping, and even step by step, started this business, literally, I would tell you, it seemed like magic, what we would call magic. And it's like so many of us are enculturated to lose touch with that force of love within us, that inspired action, that guidance and direction, so that decisions are made through us rather than by us. I love that line that I heard. So thanks, Marty. Turning 55 this year. Remember the ads for Freedom 55? I don't. Oh my gosh, I don't. But I bet they could really make you feel bad about yourself if you weren't on page. I'm 58, so thanks, Tina. I'll check that out actually as soon as I hang up. So I hope everyone found this helpful. And again, it's just when the fear kicks in, it's like, oh, that's right. I just have to interrupt this. Oh God, there's the fear again. I just have to interrupt it. And then you will find over time, like I feel less fearful. All of a sudden I got an inspired thought and I can act on it. Amazing possibilities can open up to us. And the fact that, I'm in my 60s or 50s or 70s, that's still an ego construct. Like, well, I mean, you're screwed if you haven't done it by now. We have no idea what's possible. You always go back to Louise Hay started writing when she was 63. You think about the different people in their life that later in life, they figured out things or inspired things came to them, and it wasn't work. It was inspiration. Because that's the other thing you want to tap onto if you think, oh God, I got to work hard now and I'm tired. I've worked my whole life. What if you don't? What if an amazing idea or inspiration comes? That's easy. I truly believe that's the way we're meant to live. But we all learn to fall asleep at the wheel to that because that's how we were programmed. So thanks for the great topic. Tina, great to see you. Karen, Marcia, Sandra, and have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you back here, tomorrow for day 3. Bye for now.